I don't know why Ryan Dunn can't find time on the floor, considering the defense that we saw last night. This is just one highlight from last night's game.
22 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks. Fox, hard drive, slips it in!
Well, yeah, look at this help. Now, here comes O'Neal, but he's too late. Make somebody else make a shot.
That is in the fourth quarter on TNT, where De'Aaron Fox goes to the basket. It's actually one of the better defensive plays that we saw in the fourth quarter from the Suns last night, but it was too easy. You heard Van Gundy there on the broadcast. The help is too late. You got to understand, why is De'Aaron Fox getting those looks at the basket? Why is it so easy? Defense is a problem. Van Gundy on the TNT broadcast last night absolutely destroyed the Suns over and over and over again for their poor defensive effort. And he's not wrong. They've given up 119 points, at least, in 8 straight games. 9 of their last 10. 9 of the last 10 games that the Suns have played in, they have given up 119 points or more to their opponents. Now, there's one overtime game in there. But other than that, all 4-quarter, 48-minute regulation basketball games. There are 5 teams in the NBA this year that give up 119 points per game. You want to know who those 5 teams are that give up 119 points per game? Washington, Chicago, who you'll see this weekend, New Orleans, Utah, Atlanta. You've given up 119 in 8 straight games. There are 5 teams that do it in the NBA. It's the 5 that we just mentioned, and those are 5 of the worst teams in the NBA. That's the company that you are choosing to keep right now. And your response to that is to pin your best defensive player to the bench because, I guess, quote, we mapped out a 9-man rotation and then we tightened it from there. I think we went with the guys we thought both ends of the court. We've got to be able to make plays defensively, offensively, end quote. That's Mike Budenholzer last night after the game talking about why Ryan Dunn saw 20 seconds of action, why Nick Richards didn't play in the second half of the game last night. Our best defensive player getting pinned to the bench, playing 20 seconds in a game where we are rolling out the red carpet defensively. The Oscars, Grammys, the red carpet, where everybody just walks up and down, there's no stopping anybody. That was the Suns defensively last night. Don't believe me? You don't believe that Ryan Dunn isn't a better defensive option than what the Suns were putting out there last night? I decided to do a little digging. One of my favorite NBA draft sources, guides, places to get information on is The Ringer. I think they do a fantastic job over there of putting together great information all in one digestible place. So that's where I pulled this from. I'm looking at Ryan Dunn's breakdown on The Ringer, which was the big board was done by Kevin O'Connor. He was the 16th player on their big board. This is just the overview. This is just the 1 or 2 second high-level blurb about Ryan Dunn. The best defender in this class, a player who can lock down multiple positions and get stops anywhere on the floor. That is what they were saying about Ryan Dunn before he got drafted. That guy couldn't find more than 20 seconds in a game last night when you needed stops. Every time last night, the Suns made a small little push to close the gap to 6 or to 8 or to 5. They would have a lapse on defense, multiple lapses on defense, and just like that, it was back to 10, 12, 14 points. And yet Ryan Dunn couldn't find the floor for more than 20 seconds last night. Do you want me to go on? His pluses in this scouting report: special defender who disrupts plays in every way. He's intelligent, often blowing up opponents' plays. And with his versatility, he can switch to effectively contain opponents of any shape or style. Elite rim protector from the wing position. Why is that guy only getting 20 seconds? You are playing defense right now like one of the 5 worst teams in the NBA. And we can't find more than 20 seconds for Ryan Dunn? I'm sorry. I don't think all of this is on Coach Bud. We've talked about this. We gave him 5%, I believe, of the blame pie earlier this week. This is where you get more frustrated with Coach Bud. This is where you get frustrated with what this team is doing with their rotations. How is that an acceptable practice last night? Ryan Dunn's your best defender. And instead, I've got to watch 4 Suns try to close out and box out, and I'm watching the Spurs grab offensive rebounds because defense is an effort thing. Defense is a I want it more than you thing. There's nobody on the Phoenix Suns that plays with better effort defensively and plays with that I want it more than you do mentality than Ryan Dunn. I don't want to hear about his ankle. I don't. If he's not healthy, then rule him out. But if he is available to you, it doesn't matter what you do offensively, right? The idea here is Ryan Dunn isn't one of my best 5 offensive options. Okay, fine. It doesn't matter if I keep scoring on the offensive end if I am playing Swiss cheese levels of defense. Holes everywhere. It doesn't matter if Ryan Dunn is just a one-way player in these games. You can't crawl back in if that's the effort you're going to get defensively. And yet, the best defensive player in last year's draft class, a guy who has been called an elite rim protector and rebounds well, that guy couldn't get more than 20 seconds. I'll use it twice this week. Organizational malpractice. Completely unacceptable. We opened the show today talking about why we don't believe in the Phoenix Suns anymore. This is one of the examples. I wouldn't believe in this team either. Mike Budenholzer is standing there watching his defense be a complete disaster for 4 quarters. And he's just looking over to the bench, and Ryan Dunn is just sitting there. I'm sorry, unacceptable. I would almost call it a fireable offense. If we weren't 54 games into the season and it wouldn't really do anything to make that change, like if I actually thought it would do something and spark something, it's a fireable offense last night. We've given up 119 in 8 straight games. I've got a guy who was the best defender in his draft class, was brought here, and we were told the offense is going to take a little bit, but man, defensively, just you watch. And that guy can't draw into the rotation? That guy's not good enough. Why? Because the effort you're getting from Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Tyus Jones and Royce O'Neal and Grayson Allen is better? The effort you got last night from those guys, that's better? Completely unacceptable. I know he's limited in what he can offer you offensively. But that team last night needed stops defensively. They needed to lock down on the defensive side of the ball. KD was knocking down shots. I know Book had a tough night last night, but Allen was hitting threes. Royce O'Neal was hitting threes. You needed somebody that could go toe-to-toe with De'Aaron Fox, that could go toe-to-toe with the matchups that the Spurs were giving out in the 4th quarter and say, you're not scoring on us. And the guy that you have available to you to do that, you said, he's not worth more than 20 seconds in this basketball game. And if that's the case, you deserve to lose last night. You're not putting your best foot forward. You're not putting together the right 5 guys out there in key crunch time. It doesn't matter if you keep hitting shots at the other end. If you can't stop a nosebleed on the defensive end, it doesn't matter. Can't you tell I'm a little angry today at the way the Suns conducted themselves last night? And I'm not the only one. Listen, I'm not bringing anything new to the table. You're upset. I've seen it all over the place. People are losing their minds because Ryan Dunn only played 20 seconds. Good. Let's hold this team accountable because that's unacceptable last night. Everybody watching that game on television, listening to the game on the radio, just looking at the box score. Man, the Suns got to play better defense. If only they had a guy who they drafted because that was his specialty. That was what he was good at. That he could be a Swiss Army knife and match up with any single player that a team put out there. What is the best matchup? Who is the player that I got to stop? Oh, I've got to stop the Aaron Fox? Okay, Ryan Dunn, that's your assignment tonight. 20 seconds. That is all we were able to get last night. And the answer after the game from Coach, not good enough. Not good enough. It doesn't matter what you do offensively. If you don't have somebody to help you defensively when you are rolling out the red carpet, Bismack Biyombo throwing it back old school. I mean, he looked like he was a top 5 center in the NBA last night. That's unacceptable. Defense is an effort thing. And last night, the effort, non-existent.